Greetings, how y'all doing today? What are we going to be talking about today is actually John 15, 8 and 27. If the world hates you, remember they hated me first. And that was the Messiah saying this, what we call Shura. Okay, and this other part of this will be Luke chapter 4. And that will be almost basically a good portion of Luke chapter 4. Well, let's get into the biggest thing that I want to talk about in John 15 chapter verses 21. They will treat you this way because of my name, for they do not know the one who sent me. And why was the Messiah doing this? What was the purpose that the Creator sent the Messiah? Was basically to give those no excuses. Okay, they have no excuses. The Pharisees, Sadducees, and all of them has been basically exposed. Okay, that's what happened. They basically are exposed. Okay, they expose who they truly serve, the rulers of this world and the dark forces of the spirit world. What the Messiah did was 3 of these components right here. This is what the Messiah brought, which is the wretch, it's the pathway, emet, it's the truth, simcha, it's joy, and avah, it's love. That's what the Messiah done for us. Okay? He exposed these rulers, alright, for who they are. I'm talking about the Sadducees, Pharisees, and high priests of that day. And therefore, from that day forward to this very day, the preachers, the pastors, the imams, you name it, the rabbis, guess what? They all exposed. Why? Because even though they talk about Yeshua, right, they basically falsify it in having people worship the Messiah. And it wasn't for the Messiah to be worshipped at all. And I'm going to explain that first by Luke. Okay? In Luke, it says, Jesus is tested in the wilderness, and this is the NIV. Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, left Jordan and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, where the 40 days was tempted, where for 40 days he was tempted by the devil. He ate nothing during those days, and at the end of them he was hungry. The devil said to him, if you are the Son of God, tell this stone to become bread. Jesus answered, it is written, man shall not live on bread alone. The devil led him up to a high place and showed him in an instant all the kingdoms of the world. Can you imagine that, y'all? It was like, the devil had like this internet, and he just showed them the vast kingdoms of the world, all of them. And he said to him, I will give you all their authority and splendor. It has been given to me, and I can give it to anyone I want to if you worship me. It will all be yours. Now this is quite interesting, because when you read something like this, you understand that when he said I will give you all their authority and splendor. It has been given to me, and I can give it to anyone I want to. If you worship me, it will all be yours. He's talking to Jesus. Jesus answered, it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Now, did Jesus say to him he had to serve him? No, he didn't. He didn't tell the devil, you must serve me. He said, worship the Lord your God, meaning that he knows that even the devil knows that God is the Lord and that he should serve him only. So why are you trying to hoodwink me and believing that I need to serve you and worship you? For what reason? What, to have authority and have splendors, you know? And this is what's going on in the world today. When we talk about superpowers and the leadership in these superpowers, we can see that obviously they do not coincide with none of the scriptures. But what they do, let me remind you of that. They also have the high priests, Pharisees, Sadducees, and Pharisees and things like that in different names today that works for them. Remember, when I read to you a little bit of John chapter 15, and the reason why Jesus did what he did, or should I say Yeshua did what he did, is because they have no excuses. The preachers in them of today, they still don't have no excuses on who they serve, because number one, they get tax breaks, right? Coming from the IRS, right? On the 501k or corporation or something like that. Okay, so therefore they are with the rulers of the world, and because they telling people to worship Yeshua, they are actually working with the dark forces of the spirit world, because they are leading y'all and mistreating y'all. Because Yeshua's whole purpose was he was sent by the Creator, Abba, the Father, to decree the Father's word, not his word, because if he was the Father, then the devil would never tempt him, okay, even though Yeshua has the spirit of the Creator in him, okay, and he's leading the way for us to follow as far as being righteous and things like that, and how to, basically walk in this world. It has nothing to do with religion, but remember to pray amongst yourselves. If y'all do a collective group prayer, that's wonderful. But remember, we must pray a lot. And, that's the thing that we need to work on, is that form of meditation and prayer. So the devil brung him up to this high place and showed him all of these things, and he told him, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Now, the devil wasn't finished with him yet, So the devil led him to Jerusalem, right? Led him to Jerusalem. We talk about Yeshua. Led him to Jerusalem and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. Can you imagine that? It's like, yo, come on up here. Stand right up in here. If you are the Son of God, he said, throw yourself down from here, for it's written. He will command his angels concerning you to guard you carefully. they will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Now, where did he get that from? How did he know that the angels concerning him they guard him carefully? I want y'all to understand that. He will command his angels concerning you to guard you carefully. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Now, what did he tell the devil? He said, Jesus answered, says, Yeshua answered and says, it is said, do not put the Lord your God to the test. When the devil had finished all this tempting, he left him until an opportunity time. Jesus rejected at Nazareth, right? So now the devil tempted him was 40 days fasting and stuff like that. So Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and news about him spread through the whole countryside. He was teaching in their synagogues, and everyone praised him. Y'all notice that word? Everyone praised him. Why did they praise him? Because he's like a rock star. He's like a celebrity. You know what I mean? So just think about it. One of your best celebrities that, could just chill with you, how would you feel? So he was a rock star. He was a celebrity for the Creator. Okay, he went to Nazareth where he had been brought up, and on the Sabbath day he went into the synagogue. Now, look at that. He still was not a Christian. He went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, as was his custom. See, so he wasn't a lawbreaker. He didn't come and start nothing new like people tried to say he did. He stood up to read, and the scrolls of the prophet Isaiah was handed to him. Unrolling it, he found a place where it is written. Now, Isaiah is not New Testament. Isaiah is Old Testament. So now he's about to introduce a commandment as Mitzvah in the Torah that comes with Isaiah, that comes with the Old Testament. And it says, the Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me. Who anointed him? Is the Father anointed Yeshua. To proclaim good news to the poor, right? He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners. And he's not talking about prisoners of the juvenile system. He's talking about prisoners of the spirit, prisoners in the soul, prisoners in the flesh. Okay? He came to give us good news, okay? Free us from our imprisonment of our ego and etc. These type of things that I talk about in Eckhart Tolle. Okay, and recover of our sight for the blind. So also for we can see correctly now, using that quote unquote what they call third eye, to set the oppressed free. Now that just summons it all up, that of what I was talking about, that we are oppressed, right? And to give us liberation, to set us free from our oppressor, and our own self-oppression ourselves, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Then he rolled up the scrolls and gave it back to the attendant and sat down. The eyes of everyone in the synagogue was fastened on him. He began by saying to them, today this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing. All spoke well of him, were amazed at the gracious words that came from his lip. Isn't this Joseph's son, they asked? Jesus said to them, surely you will quote this proverb to me, physicians, heal yourselves. And you will tell me, do here in your hometown what we have heard that you did in Capernaum. Truly I tell you, he continued, no prophet is accepted in his hometown. I assure you that there were many widows in Israel in Elijah's time, when the sky was shut for 3.5 years, and there were several famines throughout the land. Yet Elijah was not sent to any of them, but a widow in Zarephath in the region of Sidon. And there were many in Israel with leprosy in the times of Elisha the prophet, yet not one of them was cleansed, only Naaman of the Syrian. All the people in the synagogue was furious when they heard this. They got up, drove him out of town, and took him to the broad of the hill on which the town was built, in order to throw him off the cliff. But he walked right through the crowd and went on his way. He ninja them. It's like, he ninja them. Like they thought they grabbed him and, imagine that. Trying to throw the Messiah off of a cliff. After this old one says to him, throw yourself down from here. He will command his angels concerning you to guard you carefully. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. So just imagine this. These are people who were upset that he said what he said. And now, boom, they're getting mad at him, right? Now, here's the best part. Here goes John now, y'all. John is coming. Okay. So let's get John up in here. Here's John. Love John. Put John up in here. John 15, y'all. Well, I gotta learn how to stop that from the camera. Tell y'all that. Alright. John 15, 18:27. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it will love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world. But I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. Remember what I told you. A servant is not greater than his master. If they persecute me, they will persecute you also. If they obeyed my teachings, they will obey yours also. They will treat you this way because of my name. For they do not know the one who sent me. Who sent the Messiah was the Father, right? Was the Creator. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would not be guilty of sin. See, he exposed them right there. But now they have no excuse for their sins. Whoever hates me hates my Father as well. That right there is a combination. That's unity, because it's very simple what he's saying right here. Whoever hates me hates my Father as well. How is that possible? Because he already tells you up top, they will treat you this way because of my name, for they do not know the one who sent me. So if they hate him, his name, of course they're going to hate the one who sent them, because they don't even know who they actually hated, which is crazy, because that's how the ego and grievance and resentment and anger and frustration and all those egotistical negative vibes, that's how they work, So whoever hates me hates my Father as well. If I had not done among them the works no one else did, they would not be guilty of sin. So once again, he had to do certain things to expose these teachers, false teachers. in the Word. Because, trust me, they were about the government, alright? And they were actually serving their own ideology and stuff like that, and doing stuff and saying things and hiding words and scriptures and all types of stuff just for they can obtain their power. That's what's happening today. This is why you will see in any religious sect, you will see corruption. Because the corruption is right here where I'm talking about. Whoever hates me hates my Father as well. That's where the corruption goes in. I had not come and spoken to them, they would not be guilty of sin. See, that's him exposing their corruption. But now they have no excuse for their sin. Now they're exposed. Now you know who they are. So now you got to make a decision. Do you want to still follow these type of people? Or do you want to go with God is King movement? Because God is the only way. And this is what the Messiah came to deliver to us. That God's way is the only way. See, and the Messiah was the direction, the pathway. Excuse me, bless me. And Emet, he was the truth. And Shemchat, he was the joy. And he brung the love. He was the Hava. He was the love. So, he brought these principles to us to make us understand that we need to love each other. Okay? We need to have joy. Alright? And we need to have truth. Because when we have truth, we can trust each other. We can work with each other. But when we don't have this joy, truth, and love, and we're not on the right pathway, we fall into the way of the, as he said in the beginning in 19, if you belong to the world, it will love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. So, basically, when we in our spiritual deen, okay, deen means the way. When we in the only way is God's way. Remember, that's what my movement talk about. The only path is God's path. Okay? So, the Messiah is the terror. He's the heart. He's the love. That once you go to this commander-in-chief that sits on this prophetic seat, this is why the Quran mentions him. All these different books talk about a Messiah in their time. They talking about the Messiah. Okay? That's who they're talking about. And in his many different forms, the way he came to the different people, they are talking about the same Messiah. Who came here by the command of the Creator. And it says, and let me continue what it says as it says, if I have not done among them the works no one else did, they would not be guilty of sin. As it is, they have seen, and yet they have hated both me and my Father. So these preachers in them, they see what's going on. They understand what's going on, but they don't care about that. Just think about it. If you're a rock star and you're a celebrity and things like that, or you was a person who became famous, but you used to ask people certain things and they used to laugh at you, because this is how Shaitan works, right? You got to remember, his 40 days and 40 nights that the Messiah was tempted by the devil, right? That is the same concept that is delivered to us. Like, we are tempted, okay? And we're not even fasting. We are tempted, meaning our whole life is we are tempted by the devil. Because when you go 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, that equals 10. That's the 10 Sephirah. But he cannot get up to the part where we are disconnected from resonating into and having a beauty in a relationship with the unity of Keturah, and Hikmah and Binah, because we're not in Tephra. We're not in the heart. We haven't gone up to the 7 stages and taking it easy. Like, wow, that's something, Creator. And embracing the last 3 of the 7. You know, so this is what happens. We're not filled with that yet. Because if we were, we would not be in the position that we are in. I just want y'all to think about that. Our egos and everything like that. I have it. You know, everybody has it. Because I'm not going to be the only one that's going to go, oh, well, you know, I see the speck in my brother's eye, but I don't see the log in mine. You know, yeah, I have a log or a speck. I have it, you have it, everybody has it. But this is the thing about us not being truthful, not showing love, not showing joy, and definitely not being on the pathway. Because all of these beliefs, believe it or not, although they've been tainted, but now God's King movement is here, and it's going to unwash this taintedness. The pathway back is going back to the Creator. You know, they would treat you this way because of my name, for they do not know the one who sent me. So the true way is going back to the one who was given the order, who was sent, which was the Messiah. And now he exposed them, and it's written, right? They hated me without reason. This is the whole thing about what's going on in this world. Some people go, well, why do we have racism? Not racist, but why do we have racism? I always tell people there's a difference between racist and racism. Racist is not a person, and hear this out, it's not a person who is a bigot and dislike people. It's not that way at all. What a racist is a person of its kind that wants to maintain its kind's survivability. That's it. But when you are in a race and y'all try to project yourselves as higher than anybody else, that's an ism. That means that superiority that you're trying to expose, you're trying to make yourself or yourselves as a culture, as a race of people and everything like that, political, socially, economical, religious, etc., etc., how far you want to go with it, you know, how far this rabbit hole goes and whatever you want to talk about, you know, whether it be currency and everything like that, and that itself is an illusion. But, you know, you want to make people believe that you're the superior, and you're not. You know, and you're not. Because if you were, then you wouldn't be here in this world. So we are here trying to find the pieces that were broken. Now, when the Messiah says, when the advocate comes, whom I will send to you from the Father, notice that, the Spirit of truth, who goes out from the Father, he will testify about me, and you also must testify, for you have been with me from the beginning. That's the work of the Spirit, right? Now, mind you, we already have the Creative Spirit, but guess what? It's in a husk. We are captured. We are imprisoned people. Each and every one of us individually is in our own prison cell. You know, who was this guy? What was his name? The famous drug dealer in South America, who had his own prison, his own jail, and he escaped. What was his name? I can't think of it. But if any of y'all can remember the guy's name, Pablo, right? Had his own prison, and he escaped out of his own prison. He made his own prison. Can you imagine that? But imagine it's even worse. That's on the physical plane, right? We create our own prison, not only in the physical, but on the mental. We create our own prison system. And this is why the Creator, the Messiah, was sent. This Messiah was sent to get us out of these prison systems. Okay, this is why you read John 4 and says, and he says that he came, how he came to us. All right, it's to get the oppressor and help us, and the captured one, right? Okay, he says, the Spirit of the Lord is on me because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. This is Luke 4, verses 18 to about 19. Okay? He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners. See, and where are the prisoners right now to this very day? Nobody got locks and chains on us to do the right thing. But we are prisoners of our own self. Do y'all understand that? You can look at something and say, well, you know what? This could be true, but, you know, and this is what Eckhart talks about when he's talking about a new earth, when he's talking about awakening to your life purpose. You got to understand something, y'all, that this is a very serious time for you. When you were born, it's serious, yo. It's on and popping. It's no time for us to be in a stage of just, oh, the world is the way it is and that's how it is. No. This ain't no Janet Jackson song, that's the way love is. No, it's not. It's more than that. You know, it's more than that. You understand, why do we dislike each other? You know, why do a male and a female can't get along? You know, because they misinterpret the understanding of what a relationship is about. Because they don't have the prophets who's given the word of the Creator in their heart and mind. Now, we all made errors. Trust me on that. I made an error with the one I love. I made an error. It was very simple, right? She come right back at me and made the same error, right? And what happened with both of us? We both got punished. You know? One probably got punished more than the other because of the severity of it. You know? But we both got punished. And that's a fact. You know, it's just, that's the way it is. Surely you will quote this proverb to me, physicians heal yourself. So, basically, you know, we have to allow ourselves to surrender to the one who's going to try to open the doors for us to get out of this prison that we're in. Our minds are in a state of imprisonment, you know, and we actually have to get out of this, people. Like I tell most people at my job where I work at, right? I want to show y'all something, right? And this is a little bit off of the thing, but this is still in all of people who work together. Okay, when you work together, okay, when you're working together, things work out fine. All right, let's get it. Okay. Now, let's say we have 300 people. Right? You have 300 people. We have 300 people. Right? let's say we have 300 people. This is, churches are way bigger than this, right? 300 people say, you know what? We're going to try to get out of our indebtedness. Okay. So when 300 people pull together, they have basically $30,000 in this doggone currency. Now, I already mentioned what flax means in Italy, in Italian, but I'm going to give it to you again. It means let it become, check it, it will become. That's what this word means. That's the definition of this word. Definition. Let it become, it will become. Right? That is the definition of that word. Now, I know a lot of people's like, you know, I gotta really work this out over here. I know a lot of people is wondering, right, that it will become. So, when you have a group like this, and they all gave $30,000, $100 a month. That's $30,000 for the whole month, right? Because they gave $100 per month. We got 300 people. How many people live in America? Like, please, like, you know, this is why I don't understand us being into any organization or any religion and living still in the physical in impoverished neighborhoods and impoverished conditions, and always asking for something that we know they dislike us anyway, right? So I'm giving you the good news to the poor. You won't have to be poor no more. Believe it. Poor no more. No doggone more. Poor no more, y'all. You do not have to be poor no more. Let it become, it will become. This is very simple. This currency that we hold right now, this paper currency, is by two things. So, by two things that this paper currency runs on. The paper currency that we have now runs on order by the government. I'm going to put G. I'll put GBT so y'all know. And decree by the Papa. If y'all don't know about that, Papa Bull, basically, I put the Pope down here for y'all, but it's really the RCC. Okay? So, that's the money is run by right now, is by these entities. That's who it's run by these entities. Okay, so we don't have to do anything anymore. It's run by these entities. Come on now. Camera. Somebody gonna have to teach me how you keep this camera from bouncing like that. See that? I'm gonna have to go in my settings. I'm gonna have to learn that. Maybe it's too close. Okay, so let's go with that there. Wow. Okay. So, I'm going to show my books. So, we know that it is run by the Pope money, right? All I'm telling people is to do a few things. Put this up here. All you have to do is a few things. And what is those things? All right, let's do this little bit there. All right. So